What's going on, guys? It's your Route 1 Encounter, Yubari Eradicate, doing a little late night recording, so this one's going to be a little ASMR for you. A little bit quieter because I got Silva sleeping behind me. But we are on to episode 6, I want to say, of our Design Deck series. The series where I'll be going through the Pokedex and... oh, almost dropped. Going through the Pokedex and drawing every Pokemon in order. And discussing their designs and what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and sort of my history with the Pokemon. I have been excited for a little while to get to this one, actually, because while I have never had a great affinity for these three Pokemon, the Pidgey line, because, you know, they're the Route 1 birds you run into, and they're kind of just, I don't know. I don't know if bird people even really have an affection for these Pokemon. But I will say that, like, having a bird in the house recently, like ever since I moved and living with my girlfriend's cockatiel, I've grown to appreciate birds a lot more. And especially once Pokemon Masters added Mega Pidgeot with Blue, I got an appreciation for Pidgeot in particular. So I've been kind of excited to get into this one just to see how much of, like, bird anatomy I figured out just by being around the bird. I think it helped a lot with Pidgey, with posing, because I kind of, like, you know, that was the only one that I came up with on my own, as opposed to using the sprites as reference from Gen 2 for Pidgeotto and Pidgeot. And the reason I went for those particular sprites was mostly because I've been playing Silver again recently, and I love the Pidgeot sprite from Gen 2. But my preliminary drawings of these, the from memory drawings, they came out, like, surprisingly accurate. The biggest issue was that I forgot, like, how their Pidgey's little chest ruffles go, and I thought that Pidgeotto and Pidgeot had them for some reason. When I was drawing Pidgeotto originally, I was looking at it and I kept thinking to myself, like, this looks a lot like Articuno, and I figured that once I colored it, that would fix it. But it did look a lot like Articuno while I was drawing it. Yeah, so I've kind of come around to liking these Pokemon more recently. I am not, like I mentioned, bird people before. There's people who, you know, there's horse people, there's dog and cat people, there's bird people. I guess everybody has their animal. Some people are more enthusiastic about them than others. But I'm not particularly a bird person. I never really have been. But I did a little bit of research recently, because mostly on their feet, because their feet are actually really interesting in a weird way, because of the way they've sort of evolved over time, since, you know, more and more data as we go on is showing that a lot of predatory dinosaurs were more avian than reptilian. They found that, it was years ago, but they found that piece of amber that had a little section of a dinosaur's tail still preserved in it, and it had feathers on it, and that was, like, a really big deal at the time. So having been closer descendants of predatory dinosaurs, raptors especially maintain a lot of the features that you see in fossils of dinosaurs. One of those being their feet and the sort of shape and structure of their foot. I was trying to find the name of their back toe, which I believe is called the hallux in, like, the scientific term. And the reason I wanted to know that is because I noticed, looking at Mocha, our cockatiel, that she has 4 toes, and it seems like most birds have 4 toes. Most birds have 3 in front, and then they have the hallux, the back digit. Cockatiels, however, and I believe cockatoos and macaws, I want to say, all the birds in that sort of family, like the weird crest birds, they have 2 toes up front and 2 toes in back. I don't actually know if they are. I think they're predators because of the shape of their beak, because they have that hooked beak that, like, hawks have. And Pidgey and Pidgeot and Pidgeotto themselves are sort of not based on any one particular bird. They are just kind of vaguely raptor bird Pokemon. They are predatory. kind of similar to, I saw the online was saying like ospreys and eagles a little bit, and I can see that, especially in the eye markings remind me of ospreys. I live in Florida, and so ospreys like to live in cypress trees, and we have a lot of those around here, especially in the lake areas. Little fun fact about that as well: cypress trees actually give off a chemical called I forget the name of it now. It's some kind of acid that I almost said lactic acid, but I know that's not right. They give off an acid that turns our legs brown. It's kind of weird. They look like Coke or like sweet tea or something. But yeah, the ospreys have little facial markings like that. So when I read that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can see that. Even though ospreys are more like black and white, so the coloration's not there. But you know, but yeah. So yeah, and overall, generally, I like these Pokemon. Like I said, I've come to appreciate them more over time. Especially like I like Pidgeotto's tail feathers a lot. And even though in a lot of artwork and a lot of sprites, Pidgeotto's hair is kind of nasty looking. Like even I drew it kind of like looks kind of greasy and shitty, but I like its little weird anime hair it has on top. I've kind of come around on it. I don't really like Pidgeot's like long greasy hair. I like its like fluffy hair that it has in the sprite, and you'll see when I get to it in this video. I feel like I did better on Pidgey than I did on Pidgeot or Pidgeotto, but I think they all came out okay, which we'll see later, but getting ahead of myself a little. But yeah, the tail feathers I think are really cool. The alternating red and yellow on Pidgeot's tail feathers, but that's the only one that has it. And that was the big mistake I made on Pidgey in my from memory drawing, was for some reason I thought that Pidgey had the yellow and pink tail feathers too. And then I was pretty confident that Pidgeot I thought the Pidgeot had only the red ones. And then in its Gen 2 sprite, it has the alternating colors, but in like its official artwork and like half of its other artwork, it either has all red or all alternating. It's weird, like it's super inconsistent apparently. I believe this was one of the Pokemon too where I think I mentioned in the previous episode that there was like different numbers of toes and fingers for a lot of Pokemon over time. I think Pidgey was one that used to have 3 toes and then now has 2 toes, because Pidgey and Pidgeotto both have 2 toes up front and 1 toe in back, whereas Pidgeot has 3 toes up front and 1 toe in back. I don't know why they decided to do it like that, but that's how they decided it, I guess. So it's a little bizarre. But yeah, so between their toes and their tail feathers, they are like oddly one of the more inconsistent Pokemon. I guess maybe since they're not like super big, important, popular Pokemon like Charizard or whatever, that doesn't really, I guess people don't focus as much. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I tried doing, I cut them out of this video, but I tried doing a couple different poses for Pidgeot, where it had its wings like kind of spread out more, and then I kind of just decided to go with its Gen 2 sprite. I didn't want it to be like a 1-to-1 copy of it, you know, because I don't know, because I don't want to just go through this and just copy all the good sprites and like redraw them, but I don't know. It's just I've been wanting to draw that sprite for a while, so I just decided to do that in this video. Pidgeot's tail was kind of troublesome because it's weird. It's like it's 4 feathers as opposed to Pidgeotto's 5 feathers, and they're kind of shaped weird and fanned weird. And I ended up redoing those a couple times too that I cut out of this. When I originally cut this video, it was 37 minutes long, and so I was like, I'm not talking about these 2 for 37 minutes, and nobody wants to hear me talk about these 2 for 37 minutes. And so I did some bullshit to get it down to what it is now. But so I cut out a lot of extra attempts, but I saved what I felt was important, I guess. Yeah, I also, one of the things I realized about Pidgeot later, like once I started looking at it more, is like this is a fat ass Pokemon. This bird has a lot of plumage on it, because if you really look at it, like, that's a fat Pokemon. And it looks kind of tough in Gen 2 also. I think one thing I never really liked about Pidgeot was that it was kind of boring, especially coming off of Pidgeotto, because Pidgeotto is kind of like it's kind of always dynamic, and like, you know, it's got its spiky little fiery anime protagonist hair, and it's got the angry eyes and everything. And then Pidgeot, like, I don't know, it just something about his hair smoothing out and shit, and it like losing the different colored tail feathers in some art. I don't know, it just never really hit for me. It is kind of crazy how like massive it is, because I didn't realize for a long time until I went back and rewatched some of the anime, like how big Pidgeot is actually, that like Ash can just ride on it. But now when I see it, it's I'm kind of excited to see it. Whenever I fight like Blue in a game or something, and I see Pidgeot, I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's a cool Pokemon. I did find out too while I was doing my feet research, and I guess I'll talk about it more once, or maybe I'll show a picture once I get to Dodrio. But apparently ostriches have like really fucked up feet, because they only have 2 toes, and so it's like one big chunky honking toe and then like one little like stability toe. It's really awful. I'm glad they're the only ones that have it. But look at this big, beautiful, poofy hair. And I like when they define their, like, the sides of their hairs, like especially on Pidgeot with the red ones on the sides. I like when they're more defined as like eyebrows rather than like just the sides of his hair. Because that's what's cool about Pidgey, is just like, I don't know, like they bothered to put these weird like hair pieces on him, and I like when they focus like to make the edges of them like big angry eyebrows, since birds don't traditionally, you know, have eyebrows. Oh, that was the thing. I stumbled a little bit earlier because I forgot what I wanted to mention. But another thing about the feet. This is the fucking bird feet episode, I guess. Silva pointed out when she saw me drawing it the other day. But on Pidgeotto's foot, I defined that little bump in the middle. And that's something I've noticed on Mocha, is that like their feet are weird. They don't have like, because like human wrists, and I guess our ankles don't really have it so much. But like, you know, we have like our little carpal tunnels and stuff. We have like, there's like a defined joint there, you know, and even on our ankles, it's like there is a defined sort of joint there on your, like, in your skeletal structure. But birds are not really like, their feet and legs are not really complicated. A lot of their bones are sort of like fused together, whereas like it was like the tibia and the metatarsal or something are like fused, whereas on other, like, you know, birds and other species of things, or not birds, but other animals, they're like separate bones that are together for birds. It's really weird. Like if you go look up a picture of like a bird foot skeleton, like they're oddly simple. So I don't know if anybody like cares about bird feet, but now you know. But yeah, overall, I think they're cool Pokemon. I think they are kind of underappreciated, a lot like the next Pokemon we're going to talk about. But you know, you get them and then you move on. I think they're people spend less time with them than even the bug Pokemon that you get in the beginning. So, but I don't know. Maybe give one a shot. If anybody out there has not played Let's Go Pikachu yet, or if you're still playing Let's Go Pikachu by any chance, like I am, grab yourself a Pidgey and try out a Mega Pidgeot, because it's actually like a lot cooler than you realize. It learns Heat Wave. Like, it's a really cool Pokemon, and it gets No Guard. So like, No Guard, Hurricane, like, it's a cool Pokemon. It's a really cool Pokemon. I hope if it gets added to Sword and Shield that they give it a Gigantamax, or that they give Dodrio a Gigantamax. Give him like 12 heads or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got for these guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next episode, which is going to have a volume warning, just so you know. If you guys know which Pokemon 19 and 20 are, you'll know why, but next one's going to have a volume warning, so. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.